Welcome to everybody who's here with us for this week's edition of, or this month's edition rather, of our Be Informed webinar series. Today we're going to be talking all about urban agriculture. I am Katie Akins with Arizona Farm Bureau, and we're here with a new face, probably someone you don't recognize, at least with this webinar series. Chelsea is out advocating in a different form today, doing some tours. So I'm so excited to have with us today Tori Summy, who is our Ag in the Classroom manager. So
yes. Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Welcome. Thank you for being our go-to co-host for today.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk a little bit about urban agriculture. Do you know what urban agriculture is, Tori?
You know, I did see that video that you guys put out before this webinar.
Yeah, and I don't know how many of you guys saw that, but we have a little video here we'll show you in case you didn't see it previously. Or maybe it does, I don't know, but I am definitely excited that we have a guest on with us today, Chaz Shelton with Merchant Gardens, who's going to be teaching us or talking to us about what urban ag and urban farming is all about, because it doesn't have to do with succulents in my office.
Yeah, or hand sanitizer, I'd imagine.
I mean, it is COVID time, but who knows? So what exactly is urban farming and urban agriculture? Well, of course, that's growing or producing food, usually in a city, so an urban environment, right?
Okay.
Not a rural environment. So a city that is pretty heavy populated. And this could be indoor farms.
Okay.
It can also be farms on rooftops. I know we've seen a lot of those sorts of things. And backyard gardens can fall into this category as well, as well as community plots, so those community gardens, and then also those edible landscapes. I know quite a few people who have those edible flowers in their front yard, which is so entertaining, and I might have to visit to have a little taste. But of course, urban farming or urban ag can cover a wide variety of farms. But I am excited today to learn a little bit more about Merchant's Garden, which is in Tucson, from its founder, Chaz Shelton. So hopefully, Chaz, can you still hear us?
Hey, I'm still with you.
Awesome. I love it. So thank you again for being here with us today. We appreciate your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Well, I know I am very excited to hear about Merchant's Garden. Of course, we've done some work with you with Farm Bureau over the last several years. So I've been exposed to your production facility there, to your farm there through that. But I'm willing to guess a lot of our other attendees haven't heard of it before. So I'm excited to have you chat with them today. Tell us kind of who you are and what you do and what amazing things you're having going on there in Tucson.
Well, yeah, amazing is that's a generous introduction there, but yeah, we're definitely having fun down here in Tucson. It's a farm that I started with my dad about 5 years ago here, and we entered into this space. We jumped in with both feet here and didn't have any agriculture or food production, farming experience whatsoever, but really just had a passion and curiosity to get in and start feeding people. And so, yeah, I had come from a public health background. I had worked at a free health clinic out in Philadelphia, and then was doing some, research with the city and also in a graduate program around just access of healthy foods. And one of the initiatives that I was working on was around, hey, we've got all these amazing farmers that are in kind of the surrounding county here that are bringing food in, for farmers markets and some other outlets here in the city. This is a really amazing and a huge value to communities in the city as a whole. And it just kind of kept playing and poking around with the idea, well, what happens if we just try to bring a farm into the city? And that's really what we did. We went out and kind of brainstormed some ways of a way to bring a farm into the city, just in terms of understanding, hey, here's how to produce food in a place that isn't traditional, agriculture land. How do we get water? How do we do all these things, and then ultimately get it out to the consumers, the folks that really need food? So all roads led to this little plot of land that we have down here in Tucson, Arizona. Katie, you can jump the slide forward here if you'd like. And we started connecting kind of with the University of Arizona and their controlled environmental agriculture, and really strong in this area. And we started working with kind of shadowing some professors and some researchers in that lab, and really kind of understood this science around aquaponics and hydroponics. And at the same time, we were fortunate enough to be able to kind of connect with the Tucson Unified School District, which was doing a really large initiative around procuring locally grown food and being able to service that in a cafeteria. And they said, hey, we've got this, we've got a number of sites out here that are vacant school sites, and we just said, hey, we would love to build a farm on your old football field out there. And so, fortunately, we kind of forged a partnership where we came out, we repurposed a vacant football field here. We built a 10,000 square foot of greenhouses out here. And then we produce food for all 88 schools in the school district out here. Let me correct myself, sorry. We did, we're taking a quick break from that for this year, just because of the hybrid learning style here in cafeterias due to COVID. But that's kind of a little snapshot right there of, hey, we still have the dugout in the football field here, but that's where we're growing. When we got into this business, right, to make fresh food accessible and affordable. We do the whole continuum of the food value chain here, where we built it, we grow, we sell, we distribute locally grown greens here to restaurants, schools, and grocery stores.
So Chaz, what does it look like this year? You said you're not supplying the food to those 88 schools because of the hybrid learning that's taking place. So where's the other area that you're able to transfer that produce to? It's been exciting for us as producers here. Despite being in the heart of Tucson and surrounded by residents and businesses and stuff like that, we never sold anything direct to consumers. We were always to distributors, grocery stores, schools, restaurants, and so we've been able to kind of pivot and open our doors for the first time and sell directly to families and friends and community members, where we'll hold a pop-up drive-through farmers market stand a couple days a week, and they come in and we give them our leafy greens. Additionally, we also were able to kind of leverage a few contracts through the Arizona Food Bank network, where due to the pandemic, there's a massive spike in folks that are needing food, and so it's just been a struggle, I think, to be able to find and source that food. And so, we now sell our food through that outlet as well. So emergency food boxes, receive our produce. So we have a question that came through that is a good question. I'm actually intrigued to hear the answer. What, so you had to make that shift because of COVID from the schools to now allowing to direct sale to the consumer. What'll happen next year if schools are not being hybrid and you're going back to those contracts? Are you going to be able to continue to be able doing some of those direct market sales? Do you see yourself expanding to be able to accommodate both, or how do you see that going?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, we've really fallen in love with the connectivity to the consumer. It's probably one of the most rewarding parts of our job that we're just now discovering, where you can talk to the people that are actually eating your food and get the feedback and their excitement on how much they enjoy kind of farm fresh food. And so we want to continue that, just selfishly, because we love the attaboys, the pat on the back, the people getting excited. But we're also going to, we're going to look to expand our greenhouse here probably at the start of the year. Look to kind of add an additional 10,000 square feet of greenhouse space.
Wow.
We do have another question as well that kind of goes along with that connection to consumers. How do you determine what to grow? Is that something that you connect with the schools about, or do you just decide based on the season?
Yeah. No, that's another great question. We, like I mentioned, we had zero experience in farming, so we wanted to first kind of try what just grows well. What can we grow? Kind of a less complex product for us in our production methods. And we started with leafy greens, and early on we just really we did a lot of customer interviewing, where we would go into restaurants and talk to chefs and to buyers from grocery stores and schools, and just say, hey, how much do you usually use of these products? What is your pain points? What's your biggest struggle getting certain types of vegetables and stuff like that? And kind of going through that process of really understanding, one, what are the economics, right? How much volume are people actually paying? Two, what's the price point that they're willing to pay for that? And then three, seeing if there's a solution that we have that might be able to address some of these pain points. And then fourthly, hey, how do we become really great growers? How can we grow this product really well to solve that solution? So we kind of went through that process, and we probably started with, I don't know, 20 different varieties of greens that we were growing, and kind of through that interview process have really dwindled it down to 5 core products that we serve now.
Did the soil have anything to do with that? I know you said that you basically remade a football field into those greenhouses, but for people who don't really understand how greenhouses work, I thought that might be a good point to share.
Yeah, no, that's another good question here. And if you want, you can advance the slide, maybe 1 or potentially 2.
That one?
But actually, I think I've got a little delay on my end, but we actually are a soilless farm. We don't grow any of our food in soil at all. So it's all grown in water. We use hydroponics. Actually, no, that was a little video of just kind of our farm and how we started.
Which we are going to go back to after you talk on this slide, because I love that video.
Oh, cool. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, everything that we do is grown in water. So all of our plants are floating on top of the water, and the root system is kind of hanging in the water there. And we run everything through a recirculating system. So we actually use fish waste as the input or fertilizer to our produce. So we have our fish in a separate tank. We catch all of the fish waste in a biofilter, which transfers the ammonia into nitrate or nitrogen, and then that gets recirculated. And those plants that have the root systems that are, floating in the water, as constant nutrient dense fish waters passing across there, and they're just pulling those up. So yeah, that we had to build that whole system in that greenhouse there to be able to kind of do that as well.
So Chaz, I might have missed it in your introduction, but to that point, how did you learn about all of this stuff and the hydroponics and aquaponics?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still learning, I with zero experience, just trial and error, and kind of, we worked with the University of Arizona to help kind of educate us, but we started small. We started, building bigger and bigger and bigger systems, and yeah, and then just, learning, just planting and trialing a lot, and so we're trying to get better at that every day. Particularly on the science around aquaponics, it's a new field, and there's not a lot of great research around it, and so that's been kind of the fun adventure of being a farmer. That's one thing. Farming's not short of new and challenging adventures.
Well, we have a lot of questions coming in about the aquaponics portion, but I think let's take a step back and let's show that video that sort of gives a good overview of what it is that you're doing there at Merchant's Garden and how you've grown. And then we'll chat with you after that video again.
Perfect.
And I want to thank you because that song will be stuck in my head all day. I watched that video a couple of times last week, and the whole day I was singing that song. So kudos to you.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm seeing on the screen sort of kind of how you guys do it. I don't know if you want to go over this a little bit more before we move on to the next slide. Yeah,
absolutely. So again, we're in a greenhouse environment and indoor. We grow indoor under plastic here, and it's a controlled environment which allows us to try to mimic the perfect growing temperature and conditions year round. And then that allows us to have 10 harvests in a year, 10 to 12, actually 10 to, I would say maybe even closer to 10 to 14 harvests a year on our lettuce, which is more than if you weren't growing indoors. And then also everything's done in a recirculating system. So any water that we lose is from evaporation or transpiration of what the plants pull up. So yeah, we've got limited resources or a limited supply of water out here. So we're just trying to be as wise consumers as we possibly can of those. And then urban, we go direct to our customers here. So, no products lost, with a wholesaler or a broker where it's sitting and it's going to get, go to spoil and whatnot there. And then, because we really kind of manage and control a lot of our supply chain there, that we really pass off the information to our customers. So sharing the exact date, water consumption, food, the CO2 footprint there associated with that. we're able to share all that information with our customers to hopefully pass it along to our consumers.
Now, when you guys are working with the schools and the restaurants, do you guys have a Merchant's Garden truck that you do deliveries with, or do they come to your facility to pick up their product?
For our schools, we actually, we deliver it ourselves to the kind of like the central warehouse. Tucson Unified School District has a central kind of food process warehouse there where they store, and then from there they send their their trucks out to deliver it individually to each school.
Okay. And a question that keeps popping up, what fish do you use for your aquaponics? Is there a specific one that people should use, or any fish?
We use tilapia. We get them from a fish farmer out in New Mexico who grows a breed that's specific to the climate out here, this arid, dry, hot climate. And we get them at about 1 gram, and we raise them up to about 1.5 pounds. We have fish though as big as 4-pound tilapia that we've raised for a while now, and it takes about 52 weeks for them to get to market weight, 48 to 52 weeks. And pre-pandemic, we just kind of we just kept them. We didn't sell them or anything like that. And then since, we actually bring them to a food processor and they fillet up the fish for us, and then we sell them at our retail stand. And customers love it. It's fresh food in the desert, and it's been going well for us.
Wow. So how many fish do you have at any given time?
We have anywhere between, I would say, 8,000 and 10,000 pounds of tilapia.
Wow.
That's a lot of fish.
But what a great way to show that you can integrate them into your system to help provide the nutrients, and really in the end have no waste, because you're able to then use the grown fish to sell as a food source also. So very cool.
Yeah, it's been fun. And we'll, some, lettuce that we have or whatnot that gets, maybe a bug bite or something like that in there that's not retailable. The fish love that. They're omnivorous, so we feed them a protein diet, but they'll eat any type of lettuce that we throw in there too, which is kind of fun.
And so we're seeing here in this video your 5 different varieties of lettuce.
Yeah, yep. So we'll do red leaf, green leaf, romaine, butter lettuce, and a frisee. We grow in our 10,000 square foot production facility. We can produce about 500,000 units or heads a year in there. So that turns over every 21 to 30 days, depending on how much sunlight we've got. And then you can kind of see, hey, we're smack dab in the middle of Tucson right here. That's the University of Arizona across the street. And then to the north right there is the Catalina Mountains.
Now that school site that you're on, is that a school site that is closed and no longer used, or is it still used as a school?
It is closed. Yeah, there are no longer any students there. I think inside the actual building they're repurposing it, but as you can see, there's some modular buildings out on the site that we office out of, and storage and our equipment, kind of construction rooms, and
Very cool.
On the left-hand side, you can see, when we first started this program, we did nutrition and agricultural education. So some students, they'd drop off the school bus of students. We would do classroom-based education with them. They'd pass them off to us. We would get them to touch and feel kind of the plants and really engage with the farming and the harvesting. And then we would pass them off back into the modular building, and they would a chef from the school district would prepare a salad based on the food that they harvested and stuff like that. So kind of a full continuum of, hey, here, touch, feel the food that you're going to eat and stuff like that, trying to make that connection for especially for K fifth grade students.
Do you plan to continue that once school is back in full-time in person?
That was we'll see what the school district is interested in doing, stuff like that. But we still do quite a bit of tours and field trip programs with the University of Arizona. So nonetheless, we're hoping to keep our doors open to give tours and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm sure, especially there in Tucson, that is a sort of a destination spot for our foodies, and of course a great educational point for kids who are learning about where their food comes from. I mean, as you well know, research shows that if the kids are involved in the production of their food, they're definitely more willing to taste some of those things or try some of those things that they otherwise wouldn't have. So amazing experience that you're offering for them.
Yeah, hey, thanks. Yeah, that's what we're built on is hey, if you can see these amazing things that are happening out on the farm that are traditionally in kind of rural America, that you'll come to trust not only your farmer, but your food, and be confident on the products you're putting in your bodies, and kind of give people in the city this amazing experience that happens out in kind of rural America of like, wow, this beautiful farms and, lifestyle of being a producer, and how do we connect more people to that experience here in the city?
And I'm looking at this screen here of all of the different impacts that you had, especially in a couple of school years ago. Of course, we know this school year is so very different for everyone. What did those the staff training sessions look like? Is that the staff of TUSD?
Yeah, yep, yeah. That was their kind of food services program. They're rolling out some new salad bar type of things, and just kind of educating them on, hey, here's where the product is coming from, how it was grown, and then they had somebody specific come in and talk with them of how to prepare, kind of uniquely prepare these products and stuff like that in the cafeteria. We were surprised, a lot of the students, we started to sell red leaf lettuce, and a lot of students just, in the city were completely unaware that lettuce can be red, and, they were actually kind of fearful, like they were throwing it away because they thought it was spoiled and whatnot. And so by us being able to kind of teach the food service staff of, hey, what causes it to be red, it's totally fine, and then they can kind of share that information back with the students.
Very cool. What a great idea. I never really thought about that. Even kids, but even adults who are not connected to farming in any way, seeing the red color and thinking that it was bad lettuce.
Yeah, you'll be surprised. We've had students who come who have never seen a fish before in their entire life, and so you get folks from all over the spectrum of familiarity with food and agriculture.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah, if you want, you can jump forward here to the next slide.
Should be coming at you here in a second, I think.
Oh, okay, sorry.
There's a delay, which makes these things impossible. So we're seeing here that you did over 400 field trips.
Yeah, we I guess students, 400 students on a field trip. But we were in a pretty regular rhythm where every Wednesday they'd drop off and we do an hour-long field trip program, which is great. And that was primarily K through 12. Since we've been doing a lot of stuff with the University of Arizona, we'll get folks from particularly the School of Agriculture and controlled environmental agriculture, but we'll also get nutrition and also social science programs around dietitians or nutritionists, and yeah, kind of everywhere. We've worked with entomologists from the university who are studying kind of bugs and how to feed bugs, and then if what kind of bugs to grow for fish food, and been able to kind of engage in that research. And so yeah, we've been having a lot of fun and being able to connect and kind of sharing a lot of educational resources that we have. And again, we're learning way more than probably I think what we're teaching here. So it's been a great experience for us.
And I'm seeing on here on your business impact, you've got a full patent. What is the patent on?
Yeah, patents just on our growing methodology. Is around the specifics of how do your plant growth is all determined on your fish waste and how much fertilizer you're giving from your fish waste, and your fish waste is all determined, it's determined on a number of factors, including temperature of your water, density of your fish tanks, as well as the type of feed that you're giving, the type of feed and the feed rate that you're giving your fish. And so our patent is kind of like a pulling it all together of hey, here's kind of the turnkey kit of how to grow produce at a certain rate based on a number of elements and factors and stuff like that. So again, it's something we're fine tuning every single day and learning more and more about. Yeah, it's a crazy, the microbial colonies that are built in fish and fish waste is so phenomenal, and it's so robust. The microbiomes that it creates, and yeah, the micro and macro nutrients that we're getting for those is the science behind it is just, I think, really in its infancy. So it's been fun to be a part of that.
I'm just amazed at what you've been able to do in this last 5 years with having no farming experience. But that definitely showcases your passion for learning and for what it is that you're doing. And I think that'll serve as an inspiration to a lot of our students who are on this webinar today, who maybe don't have farming in their background, but they do have a love of producing food or knowing where their food comes from. So what an inspiration for them.
Yeah. No, thanks. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was also going to say, it looks like too that right off the gate you were exceeding your the demand was exceeding your supply. So over time, do you have plans to further grow your business, or to even serve as a resource for other people in the community who want to do urban farming?
Yeah, we've we've had really, since the beginning of the company, a vision. We wanted to build a little farm in every single city. We wanted folks to have better access to a farm than they did to McDonald's, and obviously really ambitious in that dream, and we've wanted to kind of expand here in Phoenix, really quickly. But again, kind of to your earlier point, we're so new at learning how to farm, and at the end of the day, if you don't know how to farm really well, like, none of this works. And so we've really spent the last 3 years just trying to become the best farmers and growers that we possibly can. As much research or tools and technology that you can get, as long as if you don't know your plants and know how to farm well, none of it works. And so but that being said, we're absolutely looking to kind of double our square footage of how big our greenhouse is here. We want to get a larger footprint into our grocery stores. We're looking to service more, and we've always said, if you don't have your problems figured out when you're small, when you get bigger, your problems are just going to get bigger. And so, again, we got to take care of being great growers. That's the most important thing.
Well, it seems like you're doing it right.
Yeah, we're trying. We've definitely made a lot of mistakes along the way here, but as the world kind of changes and how people get their food and stuff like that, we're just hoping to be a point of connection from from things that are happening in rural America to kind of urban areas. And so we think there's so many beautiful things that are happening kind of out in ag communities, and how do we make that connection to folks that are living in the cities? I think we want to be a player in all of that. Yeah, this is more of a technical slide right here. These are kind of like the 7 key parameters that we look at when we're trying to be great growers, right? We try to control, and we kind of say we're controlled environmental agriculture, so we try to create the perfect growing conditions every day, all day. And so we look at air temp, water temp, humidity, EC, dissolved oxygen, pH, and light. And we've got a computer-controlled greenhouse that allows us to increase humidity and air temp pretty easily. We have real-time monitors to be able to understand what's the nutrient levels and the amount of oxygen in the water and pH as well. And then the light's a little harder. That's the hardest one to control, but fortunately in Arizona we got a lot of light, got a lot of sun out here, so we're feeling great about that. But
and I'm curious, for the air temperature, is it ideal for lettuce to have the same temperature all day every day, or to have it fluctuate during the day?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and I don't know if there's an easy answer for that. I think there's a level of like structural integrity that temperature changes provides to the leaf of the lettuce. But if you are looking at just a yield and you want the biggest head to grow the fastest, you just want to keep that warm or keep it at a constant temperature and lots of light on it, and that's what you'll get. You won't get as hard of it and rigid of a plant, but it'll grow fast. And I would even say, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, what about the water temperature then?
Yeah, I actually think water temperature is probably the most important of those on the left-hand side, outside of nutrients. Is the air temperature, we can get as hot as 95, 100 degrees, and the plants really, they're not terribly impacted by it. But once the water temperature increases to a certain level, that's where your your bacteria in the water starts to build, as well as you get waterborne pathogens that start to exist, which kill your root systems and kill your plant. So controlling that water temperature, I would say, is such a critical factor.
Very cool.
Cool. Yeah, and so as we kind of land this plane here a little bit, I was a brand new farmer. One of the reasons, new and beginning farmers is land access and stuff like that. And so again, that's another reason why we kind of feel really fortunate to partner with a school district and utilize vacant land right there. Be able to kind of lease that from them, and as then we grow with more experience, it really opens up more opportunities for us as farmers to be able to purchase land, to grow, to utilize some of the USDA and Farm Service agencies kind of loan programs and financing and whatnot. But I actually started this company when I was a student in school. I was a graduate student studying business. I was getting my master's in business administration, and we didn't have any resources really to make any of this happen and stuff like that. But we built up a business plan, and was fortunate enough to ask and kind of pitch my business to some investors at my school. We had a business plan competition, and it was a $100,000 business plan competition, and we pitched in this idea of being able to build a farm in the city, and they took us up on it. And that's really what put the gas in the tank to make all this happen. And if I never thought kind of being a student that I'd be able to kind of launch something and do that and whatnot. So I guess the only thing I would say is never underestimate, the power of your homework assignments and, where that might be able to take you and the value of really, putting in your homework there.
I think that is the best statement I've heard in all of these webinars that we have done. So thank you for saying that. I'm sure the teachers are clapping for you right now.
Yes.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, so cool. Yeah, I mean, that's really all I've got here. I'm happy to answer if there's any other questions out there.
Yes, we do have a question that kind of goes along with what you just said. What advice would you give to students who maybe don't come from an agricultural background, but would love to do something similar to what you're doing with Merchant's Garden?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing the advice I'd give is just try, just try. That's all. Don't be afraid to fail. We embarrassed as we killed a lot of plants. We lost a lot of lettuce and but we just kept trying and figuring it out and learning and stuff like that. It doesn't take much to try growing plants. A packet of seeds and some water and maybe some soil. In our case, not even soil. It's really intimidating, and I would say, we definitely felt a level of intimidation when we got in, because there's, people have been doing this for generations, and we hardly even believe we've earned the right to be called farmers yet. But, we've been really fortunate for folks like at the Farm Bureau to invite us into this world and allow us to have a seat at the table. And, I would just try, it doesn't matter what kind of background you come from or, wherever what walk of life you're from. Everybody's got a seat at the table to produce some food. We need more. We need more producers out there. There's a lot of hungry mouths out there. So just try. That's all I can say.
What great advice. And I think you're living that advice, which makes it even more meaningful that you guys are able to persevere and just keep plugging away because you have a passion for it. And we can definitely all see that through your success there at Merchant's Garden. And we appreciate your time here with us today. It doesn't look like we have any more questions in at the moment. However, if we do have some that submit some questions later, is it okay if we email you for some of those answers?
Yeah. Shoot me a note here. I'm happy to help in any way that I can here.
Awesome. Chaz, thank you so much for your time today. Everyone who's on, we appreciate your time today. I hope you learned as much as we did, and we hope to see you next month as we learn a little bit more about sustainable agriculture. Have a good one.